Mic check 1, 2, 5, 4. Why am I counting down the shit? You know how this goes. Hey, guys, what's going on? Welcome to hashtag TNT JoeFi, tech news that Jerome Ortega finds interesting. Good afternoon to people in the Midwest and on the East Coast. Good morning to people on the West Coast, and good morning, afternoon, or evening to everyone else around the world. I feel like I'm being very biased to just people in the U.S. I know there are a lot of people who watch this all over the world. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. How's it going, guys? I am your host, Jerome Ortega. You guys know this shit already. Yeah, we have a couple tech stories today. Not so much, not so heavy today as we had yesterday. Sorry, I'm kind of late today too. It was raining this morning and I couldn't get my workout in. And last night I was up super late because I was playing Rocket League, because I have an obsession with Rocket League. But let me go and chat. Let me say hi to people in here. I see Lonky Games in here. Yo, and Lonky Games, man, you're ruining my news stories. This is one of my news stories today. I appreciate you saying that. Deal of the day for all PC gamers: GTA 5 is free on Epic Game Store. I'm gonna be covering that today, maybe a little later in the show. So, but thanks for bringing that up. I see Will in here too. What up, Will? What's going on, man? Welcome to the stream. Javier in here as well. Yeah, it broke the servers earlier. God damn it, guys! This is for later. No, I don't mind. It's cool. It's a big story, and I don't have a lot to share about it, but we'll go into that in a little bit. So, okay, let's start off. Let's start off with the Pixel 5. Let's talk about the Pixel 5. This is a story that I've been talking about for the last couple of days, but it looks like some new renders came out for the Google Pixel 5, and let's share that. Let's go over that. There are certain people who feel a certain way about this design. And one of those people is in this room right now who's going to for sure share how he feels about the Pixel 5, but let's talk about it. So this article from Tom's Guide says the Google Pixel 5 design reveals a radical new camera. So if you haven't seen these renders, you're going to see a more updated render today. This Pixel 5 concept design hints at a revamped and unusual camera module. And here already is Will sharing this is who I was talking about, guys. Will does not like this design at all. And I get it. There are people who don't like it. I kind of don't like it either, but I don't think it's the worst design in the world. Brian, who's usually in here, Brian earlier was telling me it's because I'm biased, and maybe I am just a little bit, but I don't think it's awful. Will says outdated, but yeah. So this is a new render that was released, and you can see. So I have my Pixel 4 is here, and like just looking at my Pixel 4 right now and looking at this, you could see the bezels here are. It's not as bad as it is on my Pixel 4. The bezel on my Pixel 4 is a lot bigger on the forehead. And here it looks like it's slimmed down a bit. But yes, the elephant in the room is this goddamn back camera module here. This is what people are having a big issue about, because it looks like Google is doing it again, and they're putting. I'm trying to get this bigger, and it's not. This looks like a face. And earlier in the tech chat I have with Will and Brian, I cropped this face and I put little eyebrows on it. I don't have that picture here. I should have put it on there. But anyway, I don't think it looks awful. Other people think it looks awful. I don't think it looks like it's the worst thing in the world. But let's go into it. The Google Pixel 5 could look like an evolved take on the Pixel 4 rather than a wholly different phone. If the latest design renders are anything to go by, created by Sarang Sheth of Yanko Design, these new concept design images are based on a collection of leaks and rumors around the Pixel 5, as well as the established Pixel phone aesthetic. Only it has one major and possibly jarring feature. From the front, the Pixel 5 in this concept simply looks like a Pixel 4 with a few refinements. The top bezel looks a little slimmer and more refined than the large bezel on the Pixel 4, but that's a plus, right? It's a smaller bezel. It looks slimmer. That's not a bad thing, which is used to hold the phone's face scanning sensors and Soli radar chip. We can go back and forth on Soli. Yes, it isn't the best thing out there right now. I actually turned mine back on just to, kind of check it out again and, see how it affects my battery. But hey, if they can make improvements on it for the Pixel 5, I'll take it, especially if this bezel is going to be smaller. I'll take it. Guys, I'm trying to be optimistic about the Pixel 5. Stop giving me shit about it. We've been talking about the Pixel 4 and talking about like the battery life and this and that, and I get it. I understand. I'm with you. You guys hear me bitch about it every day, but there might be an upside. The Pixel 5 could be good this year, guys. It could be good this year. Trust me. Don't trust me. But be optimistic. Be optimistic. So, okay. This design would hint that Google may have found a way to shrink its sensors and chip down and thus make the bezel much less screen eating than it previously was. That is a good thing. This is what we want. I mean, this is also to be expected. Obviously, they had to work on that forehead to make it smaller. The edges of the glass... It's just funny because I scroll down and I see this face just staring at me. I get it. I understand, but it's not so bad, guys. The edges of the glass on the screen look to be slightly curved, though the display itself looks to be flat, which is good. I still want a flat display. This could make the Pixel 5 nicer to hold than its predecessor, but also avoid false touch detection, but not having the touch screen right on the edges. Also a good thing. On the edges, it looks like business as usual for the Pixel 5. You'll find smooth curved sides and a colorful power button on the right-hand side, as well as a USB-C port on the phone's bottom edge. Here's the thing. I see this orange color, and yes, I know it's a render. They're probably not going to go with orange again this year. I wonder what color they're going to go with. The one thing I do like about the Pixels is how colorful stuff gets. I would love to see kind of, I'd love to see red. I would love to see a teal or a mint green or something like that, but we'll see what they come out with this year. However, flip the phone over, albeit virtually, and you'll see a new camera module again right here. It follows the rumors that the Pixel 5 will have a triple camera array, but while some might have expected a refined square camera module, Chef has put in a U-shaped camera bump, which is what a lot of people have been talking about. But you could see this U-shape, it doesn't look like it protrudes as much as my Pixel 4, so it's not as, you guys can't tell by me putting the goddamn but it doesn't look like it protrudes as much, but we don't know what the real specs are going to be. That bump appears flatter, there you go, and more flush with the Pixel 5's colorful glass rear, which would be much appreciated by people who weren't a fan of the chunky module on the Pixel 4. However, the orientation of the three lenses looks a bit like a surprise robot face to us, and this is kind of reminiscent of the Pixel 3. Remember on the front, it kind of had, the two, it looked like a face also on the front on the Pixel 3. We saw something similar with the dual camera display notch of the Pixel 3 XL. Yeah, there you go. Which also looked like two robot eyes were gawking at the user. Depending on your feelings towards camera bumps and indeed robots, Chef's take on the Pixel 5 design might be something you either like or are immediately put off by. I know there are a couple people who are put off by it, but again, I'm holding my reservations. We don't know what the final concept looks like yet. We don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's what it's going to be, but it doesn't, I don't know. I guys, we got to be optimistic. Let's be optimistic. Optimism. That's the theme of the day today is optimism, until I get really upset about something, and then we'll get into it. While there's an argument for a proper premium Pixel phone that rubs shoulders with the likes of the iPhone 11 Pro and Galaxy S20 Ultra in terms of design and materials, the Pixel 5 could come with a less than flagship specification. If you guys don't know what we're talking about or what they're talking about, there's a lot of rumors that the Pixel 5 will not come with the latest and greatest Snapdragon chipset. Instead, they're going to come with a mid-range chipset, and that could be the 765G. There are also reports it might be the new 768G that got announced a couple of days ago. That means it could further undercut the aforementioned Apple and Samsung phones in terms of price, although that has yet to be seen. Like, really, what are they going to price this Pixel 5 at? We don't know. It's going to be less than $1,000, hopefully. But will it be less than $700? Will it be around the $500 price point? Every time I say that the Pixel 5 should be $500, I think a lot of people are just like, Jerome, quit dreaming. It's not going to be that cheap. But optimism. Optimism is the key word today. Optimism. Let's be optimistic. Glass is half full, always. I'm like trying not to, I'm holding my laughter in. And thereby justify keeping with the rather utilitarian Pixel design. Okay. Before I continue on, before I go into chat, I do want to share another Pixel related story, and I'm going to share this right here. So it looks like the Pixel 4a got their wallpapers released, and according to Droid Life, they are fresh. Capital Fresh, fresh. So let's take a look at these wallpapers, because I actually downloaded them. Wallpapers from the upcoming Pixel 4a have been extracted and posted online. This is nice, since the last we heard about Google's next budget-friendly device is that its launch was pushed back to June. So the Pixel 4a looks like it's going to be coming out now in early June instead of like late May. So hopefully maybe it's going to get announced either the last week of May, first week of June during the public beta launch event for Android, and then maybe later out in June, or maybe at the beginning of June. We'll see. So the wallpapers that did get released, there are 16 wallpapers to choose from with a resolution of 2340 by 1080. And so I actually have the wallpapers here. I figured we might as well just go through them and show you what they have. I don't know. I mean, I think the designs are pretty cool. They're real colorful, obviously. And Pixel lately has been going, pretty hard with the colors. And I like bright colors. I don't really have much else to say, except I'm just sharing them with you guys. So yeah, there you go. That's it. those are those are the wallpapers. I don't know if you guys are wallpaper people or if you're looking for certain things. I actually use a wallpaper app to get all my stuff. And why am I forgetting the name of the wallpaper app I use? But it's a really good one. I like using it a lot. So anyway, let me go back here. Let me go into chat. Let me say hi to everybody. I see super chat. So let me get to that first. Levin Williams, I'm late. Did I miss anything good? Levin, you're not late. I actually started late. I apologize because it was raining today and I couldn't get like my walk in. And I was also up late last night because I was playing Rocket League until like 3:30 because I have an addiction to a video game. But Levin with the $5 super chat. Levin, thank you so much, man. Thank you for the support. Appreciate that. Always appreciate the support. Appreciate the super chat. And I also see Brian in here with the super chat, continuing his streak of 40 something super chats in a row. Brian with the $1 super chat. Brian, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And real quick, guys, before I also get into that too, I also want to thank Paul Hendricks. And I might have seen Paul in here. I don't know if he's in here, but Paul became a new patron on my Patreon. Paul, thank you for being the newest member on my Patreon. I haven't even been advertising or marketing my Patreon at all. I've been, trying to get people to use YouTube for a membership. So you get like the green name and the red Chicago star badge next to your name. But for you to just even support me on Patreon, that means a lot to me. So guys, just, thank Paul if he's in here for being a member. I do appreciate that. Thank you for joining. And I also want to thank, I don't know if Saud Al is in here, but Saud Al, hopefully I'm saying that right, is a YouTube member, and he just upgraded his membership from kindergarten cop to a predator. So you're going to get that private Discord and we can talk in there. And then since we're talking about it, and I'll just say this real quick, guys, I do have a membership now for my channel. You can join that membership by clicking the join button somewhere. I don't know, wherever it is on your screen, or if you can't get to it, you can go to youtube.com/phone Jerome/join to be a member of the channel. All it costs is 99 cents a month, and you'll get that red Chicago star next to your name as a badge, and you'll get to use custom emoji here. And then there are other tiers that you can get other stuff, but even for 99 cents a month, just to support is, that's a great thing. I do appreciate it. And even if you guys can't support, and just being in the stream just means a lot to me. So guys, thank you so much. Okay, let's get back into the chat. Let me just read what else is going on in here. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anyone. I see. Sorry, I'm scrolling up just to make sure I didn't miss anyone, because I want to say hi to everybody. Just make sure I'm saying what's up. I see Mint Arcade in here. Low Poly 1 plus Lamborghini edition. What am I missing? Oh, OnePlus Lamborghini edition. Leo, I see Leo is in here. Will's drunk. Is it because Will's talking about Pixel? Okay, Will says Rick Osterloh was drunk when he realized he better speak up. Again, I see Levin. Levin, what's going on? Again, thank you for the super chat. Sorry, guys, I'm not going to be able to go through everything today. I see chats already popping in here. Y 2019, TCL 10 Pro, nay, TCL 10 5G, yay. Hey, why? How's it going? We're going to talk about the TCL later today. And then Paul is in here. So Paul, again, thank you for being a new patron member. Pro is the module flush with body. If so, I might tolerate. The TCL 10 Pro. I'm not sure, actually. We'll get into that a little later. Let me scroll down, because again, I can't get to everyone. Brian again. Hi, Brian. How's it going? Max Tech Studios is in here too. Max, how's it going, man? Hi, how you doing, Max? Nice to see you. Thank you for joining the stream. Pascal Peter, I don't know if I've seen you in here before, but hi, how's it going, man? How you doing? Glad to see you. Okay, I think I got through everyone. And Leo is in here. Bring it. Let's go, Jerome. How's it going, Leo? Nice to see you, man. Okay. I see Keystone Tech. Keystone Tech, I'm just watching. Glad you're watching, man. Glad you could make it. Appreciate you stopping by. Nice to see you, man. Nice to see you in here. I've seen you in here before, and it's been a minute, I think. So nice to see you in here. I know I missed somebody. There was someone God damn it. Where did I see? Sorry, guys. Just making sure I didn't miss anyone. Oh, there we go. Hamid Al-Shamsi. Hey, guys. Hey, Hamid. How's it going, man? Nice to see you in here, too. And then I think I'm good. Oh, Novell in here. Novell, what's going on? Hi. Hackney Man. What up from London? Good evening, Hackney. Nice to see you. All right, guys, let's move on. Let's talk more about tech. So again, earlier today, I just talked about the Google Pixel 5, and let me just share that real quick because we'll. Sorry, that's not the screen I wanted. There we go. We talked about the Google Pixel 5, and we talked about this goddamn back camera module looking like a face. We talked about wallpapers for the Pixel 4a, and now we're gonna get into Huawei. So this story came up, and I feel very torn about this because I really don't know all of the specs or all of the details behind Huawei and what's been going on. So Huawei again got pushed. They got banned again from the stuff in the US. And so this article from Slash Gear, they can explain it better than I can kind of just, you know, ad lib it for you, but Huawei's US problem just got extended for another year. Given everything that has happened in the past 4 months, it almost feels like Huawei's battle with the US government was so long ago. In reality, however, it was exactly last year that Trump invoked a new law that empowered his government to ban US companies from doing business with Huawei. Given present circumstances, it's not surprising that the US is extending that ban for yet another year, putting Huawei's business as well as its customers in limbo yet again. Here's my question, because I don't know everything behind it. Did Trump ban Huawei for a year because there were privacy issues, or is it something else? Was there something else behind it? Was it because a business thing didn't happen the way that favored Trump? I'm genuinely asking, and yes, I'm saying it in a way where like, yeah, is it because he didn't get what he wanted? That's why I'm asking, because I don't know if that's the case or not. Or is Huawei really doing something out of scope when it comes in terms to privacy? Because if that's the case, what about other companies? Aren't a lot of other companies guilty of these same kind of things? Or am I completely off? I'm genuinely asking because I don't know the details. So the Chinese giant has been accused of many foul deeds, some warranted and some perhaps not, although there have not been any formal charges or trials. So again, there's nothing formal about it. It says here, aside from one case in Canada, Huawei has been painted as a tool of the Chinese government, or at the very least, a liability to the US. If that's the case, why not something like TikTok? Look at how nefarious TikTok has been, like violating a bunch of COPPA laws, and now they're getting in trouble again because the accessibility to children, because there are a lot of minors who use TikTok, and I just think it might be very predatory, or there's concerns about privacy being stolen there as well. Why is that not getting banned? Why are they not having issues with it? I don't know all the details, but it for me to pick one company and just completely exclude them out, I don't know. It doesn't really bode well with me. It just seems like there's something else going on. Again, I could be wrong. I don't know. This is just me kind of like thinking outside the box, and why Huawei is being the one picked on and no one else. It's exactly for those reasons of national security that the US government put Huawei on an entity list that banned US companies from transacting with Huawei and banned Huawei from purchasing US made goods. That ban will now be in place for another year until May 2021. So they're fucked for another year. But just like in the past 12 months, it isn't an absolute prohibition. So there are ways around it. The U.S. Department of Commerce has been granting temporary licenses on a case-to-case basis that allowed U.S. companies and Huawei to do some business, mostly to support existing products and services. The last license is set to expire on Friday, and the Commerce Department is expected to renew it again for a still undetermined period. Some sectors, however, are clamoring for a longer-term license rather than one that has to be renewed every 2 or 3 months with no certainty. The CTIA Wireless Trade Association argues that now is not the time to place network operators in uncertainty on whether they will be able to operate and maintain their equipment. Huawei's biggest presence in the US is not in mobile phones, but in networking equipment, especially in rural areas. An extension wouldn't mean Huawei will be able to sell phones again in the US that period. That said, US consumers will still be able to buy some older models if they're really set on that. They will, however, have to settle for a Huawei P30 Pro at most, the last Huawei phone that comes with Google Play Store. So before I go into chat, I have another article that kind of connects to it. And it's how this article from Ars Technica is talking about how Huawei has found a loophole, because for people who don't know, what's happening now is when Huawei is releasing these phones, they don't have Google apps or Google services on it. And I think that is directly related to this ban. So their loophole is to just keep re-releasing old devices. If new phones can't ship with Google apps, how about small upgrades to 2019 phones? So Huawei is still struggling to cope with the Trump admin US export ban. Sorry, I'm making this a little bigger for you guys so you can see. And now that's too big because, okay, which blocks US companies from doing business with a Chinese company. While Huawei can be pretty independent as far as hardware goes, the loss of Google's software is basically going to kill Huawei's phone business outside of China. The company is already expecting a 20% drop in phone sales in 2020, and thanks to the yearly life cycle of smartphones, a lot of Google Huawei phones are still on the market. So we're seeing only the beginning of the effects of the export ban. Huawei is doing its best to delay the effects of the export ban. And so the loophole here is to keep shipping to come up with a new loophole to keep shipping the Google apps is to re-release old smartphones. The way the export ban has worked in practice is that Huawei devices that launched before the export ban and some that launched even slightly after can still be sold with Google apps. Devices that launched well after the ban, like the Mate 30 Pro, are stuck without the Google apps. So Huawei's solution and its interpretation of the law is that re-releases of old devices can still ship with Google apps. So meet the new editions. I like how they call it new editions of old Huawei phones. This week, the company announced that the Huawei P30 Pro would be returning as a Huawei P30 Pro new edition. I didn't know this is how they were doing it. And earlier this year, it relaunched the P30 Lite as the P30 Lite new edition. So if you want the newer models with Google apps, look for the ones that have new edition at the end of it. Both of these phones are from March 2019, so they're well over a year old now, but they both have Google app licenses, so welcome back. What's new in a new edition? Well, first you get more RAM and storage. It's a good thing. The P30 Pro new edition has a new baseline 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage, which is up from the 6 and 128 on what I guess we're now going to call the old edition. There's also new software. So they're putting more RAM, more internal storage, and it's going to get a newer version of Android. Android 10 with Huawei's EMUI skin. And there's a new color, silver. The old edition of the P30 was a flagship smartphone with flagship smartphone pricing at 999 euro or goddamn 1125 US. The new edition is now a year old smartphone, and the one confirmed price we have in the UK is £699 or $852. So that's still pretty expensive for this P30 Pro new edition. I wonder then because we were talking about, Grant was in my chat not too long ago, and he was telling me that the P30 Pro was pretty good, I think, in terms of camera, which is something I would love to test out, but I wonder how much that would cost. I wonder what that phone prices out at now. With the launch of this new edition, Huawei's lineup looks pretty awkward. There's this year's P40 Pro with 2020 hardware and no Google apps, or last year's P30 Pro new edition with 2019 hardware and killer apps, and, like all these Google apps on here. It looks like the Huawei export ban will still be with us for a very long time. Yesterday, the Trump admin extended the ban for an entire year, although there is still a support exemption for existing Huawei customers. The P30 Pro launches for a second time on June 3rd. So yeah, I don't know all the specifics. It kind of sucks to see that Huawei is not, I don't know if I'm right to say they're not getting a fair shake. It's weird to me that they're the only ones. Well, what is it? Huawei and ZTE, or is Huawei a part of ZTE, or is ZTE a sub brand of Huawei? I don't know. Let me look in the chat and see what you guys have to say. Okay, let me go down here. So Javier says the reason for the ban was because supposedly Huawei having software baked into their products that track people's information, which is a fair assessment. But I guess the question is, it sucks if they do that. I'm just wondering if other companies have been caught doing the same thing, and if they have they gotten the same kind of ban or not? So Mint Arcade says currently it's because of the pandemic, and Trump is using the move to pressure China. Which unfortunately there's no proof to that claim, but because they were but because they were put on the government blacklist, they can't work with other providers like Google, for instance. Yeah, that sucks, man. True, Zoom and TikTok ought to be on the chopping board, as the latter has been used for soft power propaganda. That's exactly what I'm saying, man. Because if you're going to do that kind of shit, do it for everybody. And so again, I think there are ulterior motives to it. I don't know. I don't know everything behind it, so who really knows? But yeah, it's upsetting to see. Javier says it sucks because Huawei makes some fucking really good phones. I agree. I think they have some really good hardware. I dig the Mate 20 Pro a lot when I had it. Huawei is government linked company, thus there's limited degree of autonomy. Javier, I even asked you back in the day if you wanted to borrow it for the night sight test mode. Yeah, Javier, and a lot of people ask me and you know what? I love you guys for it, because a lot of you guys kind of step up and you're like, hey, I can ship stuff to you or whatever. And it still happens today. A lot of you guys are still offering me stuff, and I'm very flattered, but at the same time, I feel bad, guys. Like, it's sometimes I don't even have the time to do it, and I don't want to, I don't want to feel obligated to that's not really the right word. I as much as I'm flattered by you guys trying to offer me stuff to test phones and everything, I don't know, maybe there's something I can do in the future, especially if I can have more time dedicated to it. But yeah, I'm talking off topic here. I would love to test Huawei stuff. That's kind of why I'm looking at the P30, because maybe that's a phone I can buy if it's priced well enough to just test the cameras out. Let's see here. Mint Arcade was saying founder was from the army, now daughter is CFO, was apprehended in Canada years. Oh yeah, that's right. Actually, I think the news organization I work with talked about that. I think they did that as kind of a retaliation move or something like that. I don't really know. I'm not sure. Again, I don't know all the inner workings of it. Keystone Tech, I wanted to X and 11 and 10. I don't know much about those phones either. I know a lot of people talk about that. Javier says it was an amazing phone and you can find it cheap on Swappa. Cheapest sold for was 8 gigs, 256 gigs of internal storage, $415. That's really cheap. That's actually a really good price. Wow. No obligation. We like you with your reviews. I know, Javier. Well, you know what? I mean, if it's a phone that I don't know. We'll talk, Javier. Anyway, yeah, so that's it. That's all I wanted to share with Huawei. So let's go ahead, guys. Let's move on to the TCL 10. I only have one review that I'm going to go over. It looks like either the embargo got lifted or whatever, and there's a ton of reviews now for the TCL 10 Pro and the TCL 10 or TCL 10L. And I think the biggest thing that a lot of people are talking about why this phone is the way it is because it's such a cheap price, which I think lately has been the story for a lot of phones. There's a lot of budget prices out there. There's a lot of higher specs that are coming to it. I'm kind of on the fence about the TCL 10 Pro because, yes, I know it's a $450 phone that I don't know. You know what? It has it's running a Snapdragon 600 series chipset or SoC or whatever. And I don't know where I stand with that chipset. I just don't know if it's going to be something that will be good years down the road. And that's kind of why I'm hesitant to really mess around with it. But then on a Friday Night Tech Talk that I had with Will and George and Mike, they were saying, hey, Jerome, have you checked it out? Because like people are talking about the camera and how good the camera is. And so I did take a look at some camera samples and they look pretty good. But I pulled this one from The Verge just to kind of like see what they're talking about or see how they feel about it. And we'll go from there. So the TCL 10 Pro review, premium looks, budget performance, a great looking device without the internals to match. You've probably already heard of TCL thanks to their surprisingly good Roku-powered TVs, but you're much less likely to think of them as a phone manufacturer. That's because while TCL has certainly made its fair share of phones over the years, it's tended to put other brands' names on them, like the BlackBerry Key 2. If you guys don't know, TCL, I think has been linked to BlackBerry, and they've also been linked to Alcatel, and this is their first foray into making their own smartphones. That makes the 449 TCL 10 Pro a little bit special because this is a big attempt from the company to make a name for itself in the world of smartphones. TCL's logo is right there on the back of the device, and thankfully for TCL, it makes a great first impression thanks to a big screen, minimal bezels, and a sleek camera array. In the world of TVs, TCL's logo has become a signifier of affordable quality, and it seems to be going for the same result in smartphones. But its modest $449 price tag means the TCL 10 Pro is launching into an increasingly crowded segment that includes the likes of the A51 from Samsung and Apple's new iPhone SE. For me, how I feel about it is all of that is welcome. You want to bring good phones out? Go ahead and bring the best of your mid-rangers out. Bring the best $400 to $500 smartphones out there, because that's what I'm willing to pay for a smartphone. Enough of this $1,000 bullshit. I mean, you guys can keep putting those $1,000 phones out, and I think the only ones that I might actually spend the money on is for the iPhone, and yes, probably for the Pixel as well, but that might be it. Unless something else really like blows my mind. Otherwise, I'm probably spending between $400 and $500 for really any other phones. Good first impressions aren't enough if this phone wants to be competitive when it launches on May 19th, where it'll be available unlocked on Amazon, Best Buy, and Walmart, but not through any of the carriers, which is fine for me. I don't really care if carriers carry it or not. I said this yesterday. Put a good phone out there, make a good product. The reviews will speak for themselves, and I think the product will sell after that. So the TCL 10 Pro looks like it got scored a 7. It looks like it got scored a 7 from The Verge. Good stuff. Sleek handset design, big, bright, colorful display, unobtrusive software. That's good to know. I was actually wondering how the software would be. And it has a headphone jack. So camera, which I'm a little surprised about because on Friday, people were already saying the camera before people actually got a hold of the phone. They were already saying the camera wasn't going to be the greatest. But then on Friday Night Tech Talk, the guys were telling me, no, Jerome, take a look at the camera, because the samples that people, or the shots people have been taking, have been looking pretty good. But The Verge is still saying it's so. The screen is prone to accidental touches. Oh, that's not good. And that's probably because of the display. Shortcut button too easy to accidentally press, and occasional performance stutters. And see, this is the thing that will probably bug me. It might not bug a lot of other people. I don't know. I feel like for me to keep a phone, for me to keep consistently using a phone, it has to have good performance. It has to not stutter. It has to not lag. And the occasional stutters, the occasional lag really turns me off on a phone. It really makes me pause and say, do I want to keep using this? Because in my head, I'm also like, how is this phone going to be a year from now? Or even 6 months from now? How well is it going to perform after that? That was my issue. You know what's weird to me? I had a Galaxy S7, and that was one of my first Android phones that wasn't a Galaxy. It was one of my first phones that wasn't a Nexus phone, like a stock Android phone. And that S7, when I first had it, I said it was good. But like after time, that thing slowed the fuck down. I mean, compared to my other phones, it didn't have the same performance it initially had. And I'm worried about this kind of stuff with a Snapdragon 600 chipset. Anyway, that's kind of how I feel. And to see this already, to have a phone on day one that's having occasional performance stutters is something to question about. And we can sit here, and we're all tech people, right? That's why you're in here, I'm assuming, because you like to talk about tech. And maybe for us, we're nitpicky about it, and maybe the occasional or the average customer or average consumer won't notice those stutters, especially people who don't use their phone as much. If they're light users, yeah, maybe they won't notice the lag, but I still have a hard time recommending a phone that's laggy to somebody, even for someone who doesn't use a phone, that doesn't heavily use a phone. Here's the thing, for people that heavily use a phone and they want my recommendation and camera isn't the biggest issue, and I know they don't want iOS, is I will almost always recommend a OnePlus phone. because that is like the best bang for the buck performance wise. I'm really going off topic here, so let's continue. The TCL 10 Pro features a handset design that wouldn't have looked out of place on a flagship phone just a couple of years ago, and I mean that in a good way. It got reasonably small bezels, a display that curves around its sides. That's probably why, you know, they're saying here it's prone to accidental touches, and a small centrally positioned display notch. It all means that despite its big 6.47 inch 6.47 6.47 inch display, the phone doesn't feel too bulky to hold. I also really like how TCL has managed to sidestep the industry's recent trend toward massive camera bumps with an almost entirely flat back. And actually, I remember we talked about this, or I talked about it when it first came out. To see them do that is nice. There are still 4 cameras here, but TCL has successfully recessed them into the rear of the phone. There's a USB-C port on the bottom, which can charge at up to 18 watts, but you won't be able to charge this phone wirelessly. Okay, so not the fastest wired charging, no wireless charging either. At this price point, that's not an immediate deal breaker. It isn't for me, but it's a feature that's slowly appearing on cheaper phones like the recent iPhone SE. The 10 Pro has an IP52 water resistance rating, so that's good at least. It doesn't have the best, but it's still certified, which means that it can deal with light sprays of water, but it won't survive being completely immersed, which is fine for me as well, because I don't go around dunking my phone anywhere. Again, obviously accidents happen, but again, it's nice to see that there's some water resistance to it. It's a little hard to evaluate a phone's battery life given everyone's home-based lifestyles at the moment, but I had no problems with the 10 Pro's battery life. I mean, it's a 4,500 milliamp hour battery. I was averaging anywhere between 4 and 6 hours of screen time. Really? Only 4 to 6, even with a 4,500 milliamp hour battery? That's kind of surprising to even see 4. I was assuming you were going to get at least 5 out of there with heavy use. Regardless, it should be enough to get you through a day of use without any difficulty. There's a headphone jack on the top of the device, and opposite its side-mounted volume rocker and power buttons, there's a dedicated shortcut button. And I think that's where they were saying they were having issues accidentally touch pressing it or whatever. The UK version of the device I used, this button was limited to summoning the Google Assistant. Regardless, I found the button was far too easy to accidentally press. That kind of sucks. I was constantly activating Google Assistant when putting the phone into my pocket, for example. The 10 Pro is equipped with it's a Snapdragon 675, 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of expandable storage. So at least there's 6 gigs of RAM, at least there's 128 gigs of storage, which in 2020 terms translates to solid mid-range Android specs. In day-to-day use, it more or less did everything I needed it to do, or I needed it to, but I experienced occasional stuttering while switching between apps, and gaming performance was middling. Normally, I'd say that these specs are to be expected at this price point, were it not for the fact that you can get Apple's most powerful processor in the similarly priced iPhone SE. And that really is something to note, because, you know, you're paying $450. Yeah, you're probably going to get better battery. You know, you're getting better battery. I'm pretty sure. Well, I don't know. 4 to 6 hours of screen on time. I mean, the iPhone SE is not going to get you 6 hours of screen on time. Maybe if you were to baby it, but you know, you're going to get a phone right off the bat that's not going to have the best performance, and then for $400 you can get an iPhone SE. I mean, for $450 you can get an iPhone SE with 128 gigs of internal storage, and you're going to have great performance for years to come. And I think that's a weird conundrum to be in, because then you sacrifice a good display or a better display, better battery life. I don't know. So, let's see here. Apple's budget phone is definitely the exception rather than the rule, and the 10 Pro compares more favorably to its Android competitors. In terms of software, TCL has made some sensible tweaks to Android, and in other cases where it misses the mark, you can easily undo its choices. So I grew to rely a lot on the Edge bar, which gives you an easy shortcut to access your frequently used apps. It's not unique to TCL's take on Android, and you'll find a similar feature on Samsung's recent phones or the Motorola Edge, but its implementation is solid, and I found it useful for quickly accessing my password manager and authentication apps. On the other hand, I quickly turned off TCL's SDR to HDR conversion feature, so it looks like you can turn some stuff on, turn some stuff off. Again, I'm more of the stock Android guy. not that I'm not opposed to seeing what other manufacturers have to offer in terms of software, but I'd rather just stick to stock if I could. I'm not going to go through all of this stuff. I want to go into the camera here. It's a similar story when it comes to the TCL 10 Pro's cameras. They look great on the outside, but their actual performance leaves a lot to be desired, which, I'm not surprised in one aspect, but again, other people have said that the camera's looking pretty good. So the 10 Pro has 4 rear cameras, a main 64 megapixel, a 16 megapixel ultra wide, a 5 megapixel macro, and a 2 megapixel depth sensing. There's a 24 megapixel camera on the front. These specs sound like you might get a half decent photography experience, but the 10 Pro's photos end up looking overly processed, unnatural, and at times completely fluorescent. Oh, that's a good word. That's a word I haven't used much. That's a good way to put things. Usually I just say neon. It's all summed up fairly nicely by the trees on the top left of the following image. Not only are they completely oversaturated, but they look so sharpened that they look almost cut out against the sky. That's actually really true seeing it, because that's that's a look that a lot of people go for, though. The same shot taken on a Pixel 3 shows how the trees are supposed to look and provides an idea of what sort of camera performance you could get out of the similarly priced Pixel 3a. So I'm assuming this picture on the left, this left is the TCL 10 Pro, and then on the right is the Pixel 3a. So it's definitely, and you can even see, so you guys can't see me pointing at the screen, but do you see like the kind of rainbow effect on the sky there, and just separating it there? That's like really, really overdone. I mean, it still looks good, but I understand where he's saying that it does look oversaturated. But to see even that dividing line of the sky is just, that's a turnoff there. Otherwise, I mean, it does look pretty bright. It does look saturated, but I could still look at that and I could say, no, it doesn't look awful. It looks better than a soft shot, right? It looks kind of detailed, at least from what I'm seeing here. When it comes to faces, the 10 Pro makes them look a little soft and brightened, and low light performance is really unimpressive. This one shot of a bookcase came out looking like it had an Instagram filter applied to it, thanks to the way its cameras messed up the white balance and contrast. Yeah, so this is really warm here in terms of the low light shot. I mean, these don't look awful. That looks a little soft. Oh, because it's the wide angle. But they're not awful looking. They look good. Is this just a regular? I mean, yeah, it's a bit soft, but it's not awful. Is this a wide angle? I mean, this is just washed out, but I don't think they look half bad. They really don't. It would make me at least want to test them out and see how they fare against some of the bigger cameras out there. But yeah, he doesn't have any other phones that he's testing it out with, but which is something I was hoping to see. Likewise, the quality of video recording is nothing special. Does 4K at 30 FPS. We can read about that later. I just kind of want to see we're already at the end here. There's a lot to like about the TCL 10 Pro, but there are also some frustrating first-gen kinks. Yes, there's a nice big colorful display with minimal bezels, but the phone constantly thinks you're touching the size of the screen. That's unfortunate. There's a nice range of rear cameras, but TCL's aggressive image processing can spoil the photos they take. There's a headphone jack, but also a shortcut button that's a little too easy to accidentally press. I mean, they're not the worst. They're not the worst things in the world. I think if anything, the biggest thing for me is the performance. The camera is something that I would have to test more of, but yeah, it doesn't look awful, but I'd have to test it out and see. So, okay. Let me scroll back up here. Okay. Let me scroll down. Sorry guys, I'm not going to be able to go through everything today. We're already 3/4 of the way in here. Yeah, Mint Arcade says, joke is TCL is also a China company. I mean, a lot of these companies are. That's why I'm saying I just think it seems a bit unfair. Mauricio Salazar Rosas, welcome, man. Welcome to the stream. The S675 is a little old and underpowered for $450 in 2020. I agree. I feel very similarly. That's why I have a hard time saying, why would I pay $450 for a Snapdragon 675 when I know the Pixel 4a is going to be coming out with a Snapdragon 730, and that's going to be $400, and it's going to have a better camera than what this TCL 10 Pro is going to give me. Terrence, hey Terrence, how's it going, man? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. I feel the same way about spending over $1,000 for a phone, but because of my uses, I would end up doing just that. In the meantime, I just had my iPhone 8 Plus battery replaced. At least you got that replaced. Hopefully that wasn't too much either. Going to keep running it for another 2 years unless Apple releases an iPhone that has all the great usable features for a great price. Well, Terrence, did you see the iPhone 12 is probably going to be priced at $650? It's going to have the OLED display. It's going to have, the A14 Bionic chipset. And at $650, yeah, it's still up there in price, but it probably, it's cheaper than paying $1,000 for a phone. So that's something to take a look at too. Javier says, watch, TCL is going to go the OnePlus way eventually. I'd love for them to. I'd love to see other people come out and go ahead and be the new flagship killers. Go ahead and put the best of the best in there. I mean, look at Poco, right? I don't know Poco's reputation that well, but at least they're putting some big specs in there and they're putting them at a decent price. Terrence is saying TCL is becoming very intriguing. So yeah, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. We'll see. Mauricio says OnePlus 7T at $450 is a better choice. Very true. Although isn't the OnePlus 7T going for $499 right now? Either way, it's still a good choice. I will always recommend a Snapdragon 800 series probably over any 700 series that's coming out. I mean, unless it's like a 3-year-old 800 series or whatever, but even a year-old 800 series right now is still going to outperform the 765G or 768G, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so I'm looking at my other stories, guys, because I'm not going to be able to go through all of them today, and maybe I will later on later on in the week. So Galaxy Note, we'll go over that later. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about this. This is actually a couple deals that I had, and if you guys don't know, there were articles last night that were talking about it, but this morning, now they're saying, yeah, if you guys know about GTA 5, or if you're an old fan of the original GTA series, you can get a copy of Grand Theft Auto 5 for free right now, and this is showing you how. So Grand Theft Auto 5 is under 10 years old, yet it's considered by many to be a modern classic. The easiest way to even talk about this is go on Twitch right now, and there's still a ton of people playing GTA 5. A ton of people play it. And here's a confession is I've played GTA, but I played the original ones, and I've always wanted to play 5, and I never have, just because I've been only playing one game for the last 4 years, which is like Rocket League. Maybe not 4 years, 3 years, or however long that game's been out. I've been playing it for a long time. And even though I've been wanting to play GTA 5, I wasn't going to spend $60, but now that I can get it for free, after this stream, I'm going to go ahead and download it, and I'm going to get it myself. The game has gone on to sell over 100 million copies since launching way back in 2013. God, that game is that old right now. And it's available on a whole mess of different platforms. And today, going through May 21st, the PC version of the game, perhaps the best version of the game, thanks to the flexibility and horsepower available on computers, is available for free through the Epic Games Store. As of May 14, when the offer went live, the store has been overwhelmed by traffic. So don't be surprised if you try to download it right now and you can't get to it. But I'm sure eventually you're going to be able to get it and you'll be able to download it. Signing up for and using the Epic Games Store is free, as is this offer. The only requirement is that you equip two-factor authentication to your account. So if you guys are looking for a game to play and you've never played GTA 5, or you have played it before and you just kind of want some of that nostalgia back, and you have a PC, feel free. There you go. You got to download the Epic Games, whatever it is. I think they have their own software, Epic Games Store. Oh no, you don't have to pay to use the app. Oh, you have to use the Epic Games Store though. So yeah, there you go. All right. And then another deal that I have, I just kind of put them together here, is from The Verge. Spotify is offering first-time premium users 3 months free until June 30th. So if you haven't used Spotify, or you want to be a first-time user, you get 3 months free. Previous premium subscribers can pay $9.99 for 3 months. Spotify is offering 2 new deals starting today to bring more people over to its premium subscription service. New users can get 3 free months if they sign up from today through June 30th, and the deal applies to any premium plans, including family, student, and individual. I've been using Spotify for years, but I have a premium family account, and we pay $15, and I think we split it with 6 people. So I only pay $4 a month. And I've been paying $4 a month for years, and it's a great deal. Meanwhile, people, and I would recommend that's what you do too if you're trying to save a couple bucks. Get a family plan, get the maximum amount of people on it, and then just split it. Meanwhile, people who were once individual premium members but canceled their plan before April 14th can sign up again for $9.99 for 3 months. So that's a great deal too. If you had it before and you're just trying to save some cash and you like using Spotify. I mean, I use Spotify every day. I go for, now that I'm in quarantine, I don't have a gym. I do cardio for an hour every day, and I use my AirPods, and I use Spotify every day, so it's worth it for me. The offer seemingly suggests Spotify is trying to ensure it'll keep making subscription revenue while the COVID-19 pandemic continues. We're not going to go through all that. Just wanted to share that story there. So, okay. Next story I have here, actually, let's go into this. MediaTek to introduce a new 5G chipset on May 18th. MediaTek has been going kind of crazy talking about all of their new chipsets, and it looks like they're having another one on May 18th, which is 4 days from now. They're introducing a chipset after chipset for the growing 5G market. After we saw the Dimensity 800 and 1000 back in January, a more powerful follow-up called the 1000 Plus was recently unveiled with the Vivo IQOO or IQ, I don't know how that's pronounced, Z1. And this Dimensity 1000 Plus was just announced a couple days ago, and now they're announcing a new 800 Plus, it looks like, with a mightier GPU and improved features for gaming. So this might be their mid-range chipset. The poster doesn't reveal anything in particular, so we're left to play the guessing game. Honor will have an event on May 18th, but it is later during the day, so an Honor smartphone with the Dimensity 800 Plus chip seems unlikely, especially when Huawei already has its own chipset division. We shouldn't exclude a joint between MediaTek and Xiaomi's brand Redmi. We're still expecting to see the rumored K30i that is said to be the cheapest 5G smartphone on the market when it launches. And with a mid-range platform like the Dimensity 800 Plus, it could go below the CNY $2,280 threshold, which is super cheap for a phone. We'll have to wait 4 more days until the event, but you're free to share in the comments what you think. MediaTek, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm just trying to see what I'm going to end this here with. Actually, let's kind of talk about this real quick. And this isn't a big surprise. And, I think this is kind of appropriate to talk about, especially for people who don't know much about 5G and who think it's still... The thing about 5G is there's a lot of politics, I think, to it. And I think a lot of it is being forced down our throats right now. 5G. It's not ready for the 2020 market. It might not even be ready for the 2021 market. And while it is technology that is advancing and it's becoming, more readily available across the US, I still don't think it's the time for it. You should not be making your decisions on buying a phone based on 5G, or at least it shouldn't be your priority. And don't fall for the marketing schemes. And this article from VentureBeat is talking about how the Better Business Bureau is blasting Verizon for 5G ads, says coverage claims mislead customers. I haven't read this article, so I just read the title and I laughed and I said, that's not surprising. Verizon being dickheads. I mean, and here's the thing. It's not just Verizon. It's all the other telecoms. It's all these other big oligopolies playing this game where, they're going to tout 5G and it's the best thing since sliced bread. And 4G LTE is still outperforming 5G in a lot of ways. And they're going to continue to do so. And until 5G really takes over, then, I'll recommend it later. But for now, no. While rivals AT&T and T-Mobile were racing to launch nearly national 5G networks last year, and again, AT&T and T-Mobile. So it's not just Verizon. Verizon can suck a dick, but so can AT&T and T-Mobile. Verizon oddly focused on touting rollouts at sports stadiums and arenas, places where it could show off its high-speed, short-distance millimeter wave technology. And it's not that the technology isn't going to be good. If they can figure out these issues, like I was at right before the lockdown, I was at a Chicago Bulls game. And when I was at that game and I was trying to use my phone to upload something on Instagram, it was like a video clip while I was in the stadium. It couldn't do it. I had to walk out of the stadium. I had to walk not outside of United Center, but outside of like where the game was at just to get the reception to come through. And if they can figure that out, that's awesome. I love that. But now they're going to use that as a marketing ploy to be like, well, remember when you couldn't, get reception inside the stadium? Well, if you get 5G, we're going to fix that. God, and if we're going to fix it, we're just going to charge you more money for it. And that's the shit that pisses me off. That's the shit that I have such a hard time dealing with, because we already pay you guys money and you want to provide us a good service. Well, I thought part of us paying you monthly is to not only provide a service, but improve that service over time. Otherwise, we'll go somewhere else. But here in the US, we have three other choices? I mean, yes, we have MVNOs, but those guys are under, the helm of the other big telecom industries. So anyway, now the Better Business Bureau's advertising unit is taking Verizon to task for misleadingly using those stadium installations as proxies to overhype its modest 5G expansion elsewhere. Again, not a big surprise. This morning, the BBB's National Advertising Division told Verizon to stop claiming that it was, quote, building the most powerful 5G experience for America, and recommended that the carrier make clear and conspicuous disclosures to consumers about the limited actual availability of its 5G network. The limited actual availability of its 5G network. Again, guys, it's not as good as they say it is. Don't fall for the hype. Don't fall for the bullshit. While Verizon has agreed to update its disclosures, it will appeal the BBB's objection on its network construction claims to the National Advertising Review Board. The BBB's action comes at a critical juncture for US 5G deployments, which have thus far failed to deliver on the 5G standards bold promises. Consumers and businesses were promised 10 to 100 times faster mobile and fixed broadband speeds, as well as single-digit millisecond latency and remote industrial benefits, sparking widespread interest in the new technology. Of course, when you tout that kind of stuff, of course people are going to get excited about it. Like, we'd love to see that. I'd love to see that. But early US 5G networks have ranged from tiny Verizon to fuzzy AT&T to large and slow T-Mobile, depriving most potential customers of those expected benefits, despite heavily marketing, quote, 5G as a reason to invest in new devices and services. Perfect example, and I've had this in a previous video. The OnePlus 8, the OnePlus 8 Verizon 5G, I can't remember what letters they put, UW edition, whatever bullshit letter edition that they're doing for the OnePlus 8 for Verizon, and it can only be used on Verizon to get millimeter wave. But the thing is, they're also charging an extra $100 on top of it to use that 5G millimeter wave that is probably still not available or as widespread as they claim it to be. So you're going to be paying an extra $100 for this OnePlus 8 Verizon special edition, bullshit edition, and you're just getting ripped off. You really are. Don't get a phone right now for 5G. Don't waste your money. Imagine buying a OnePlus 8 for $800 for a premium price to not even get the speeds that you're getting promised. But you're not going to get it unless you're standing right in front of the tower. And whether or not they add more coverage, when is that really going to happen? We don't know. We really don't know. Verizon's rollout has been particularly unusual. As one of the two largest cellular carriers in the U.S., it has over 100 million wireless customers, and has aggressively promoted 5G for 2 years. They've been promoting it for 2 years, 5G. I didn't even realize it's been 2 years they've been promoting it. Imagine being suckered into 5G for the last 2 years and you've been getting shit for it. You've been paying extra money for it. Yet Verizon's 5G rollouts have been almost comically spotty, covering only parts of over 30 cities, with outside estimates of roughly 3% coverage in some supposedly served areas. In some cases, Verizon's 5G is available largely in stadiums or airports. So that's the only time you're going to get that, when you're in a stadium. How many times are you going to a goddamn basketball game or baseball game? Unless you work for, and now you can't even go to any of them. You can't go to any of these goddamn places. So you're not even going to get the coverage. We're in a goddamn pandemic right now. So you're at home using their Wi-Fi. You're not even taking advantage of the coverage. I know I'm going just kind of like, but this is the kind of stuff that upsets me, because we're a consumer. We pay for this kind of shit and you're getting duped into it. And it's not us in the chat here, right? I think a lot of us in here know better, but it's the hundreds, the thousands, probably the tens of thousands, or even the millions of people who don't know, who don't really realize. And right now they're at a Verizon store or whatever, or they're online shopping for a phone and they think they need to get a 5G phone because they think they need it right now. And why? And I wish they were here to watch this stream and just be like, guys, don't fall for the hype. Don't buy into it, because you're just going to waste your fucking money. Go spend the money on something else. Spend that money where, it can be better used. I don't really want to go through the rest of it, because there's not much. I think it's more of them just trying to like defend why 5G is being overhyped right now. It remains to be seen how I'm saying I'm not going to, and I'm here reading the last paragraph, but I want to read into it. So I'll read it. We'll finish it. That's it. It remains to be seen how Verizon will actually improve its 5G network this year. The carrier currently offers super simplified 5G coverage maps for 34 cities, with only one, San Diego, identified as coming soon, though it's promising some coverage in 60 U.S. cities by year's end. Verizon CEO Hans Vestberg said this week that expansion of its initially hyped 5G home broadband service will take place this fall, pending delivery of 5G modems with longer-range Qualcomm millimeter wave hardware. The carrier has also committed to rolling out a slower speed version of 5G that will share its existing 4G spectrum with 5G devices, though the timing is still ambiguous. Think of all of the bullshit that has happened because of it. These telecoms say 5G, 2 years, 5G. The last 2 years, 5G, 5G, 5G. Now Qualcomm, 5G, 5G, 5G. Every phone company, 5G, 5G, 5G. You're not getting shit for it. You guys are not getting shit for it. Most of us are at fucking home right now on Wi-Fi, not using cellular coverage. You're using your Wi-Fi. And they're making us pay more money for 5G. They're not using a Snapdragon 800 chipset because they want to use a Snapdragon 700 chipset to save money because of 5G. So instead of giving us better performance, they're giving us shit. They're giving us cellular coverage that we're probably not even going to use for the next 6 months, because we're going to be still locked down here because either a second wave is coming or whatever. And oh my God, I can't. Guys, don't fall for the hype. Don't. I'm done. Sorry. It's just, don't waste your money, guys. Please don't. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't even know how long I was bitching about that, but okay, guys, let's I see Raph in here. Raph B, what's up? What's up, Raph? How's it going, man? Glad you can make it to the stream. Appreciate you stopping by. Mince Arcade. 5G is the reason we have pandemic now. Fact, I like your little alien emoji there. You know what? Actually, God, I need more members for the YouTube thing, because I think if I have 2 more members, I can add another emoji, and I should add a tinfoil hat. I think that would be a good one. Jorge Omar Gonzalez. Hey Jerome, what's up? What's up, Jorge? How's it going, man? Welcome to the stream. Glad you can make it. Okay. Javier says 1+8 bullshit edition. Yes, I like that. I do too. Theory X84. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the chat. Appreciate you stopping by. Jerome on a 5G rant. Where's my popcorn? I hope you had some. Javier being Jerome being savage. I agree with the 5G overhype. People paying for something that ain't going to be fully working stable until the next a few more months or maybe even years for some other countries. It is, man. I hate knowing that we have to. I don't know, man. I don't want us spending our money where we shouldn't. We get duped so much. We get screwed by so many things already. We get screwed by the top people just taking our money, trying to squeeze every penny out of us, and it rubs me the wrong way. It really does. Think of your think of your blood pressure. That's why I've been trying to work out and lose weight and whatever, because I got to keep that in check. I got to keep it in check. They may just sign up new users and up the speed cap of their 4G service so the customer will experience faster internet, hence 5GE. You're not wrong, Mint Arcade. You're not wrong. All right, guys. I think that might be it for today. Real quick though, sorry, I'm just trying to move shit around here. Real quick. Sorry. I'm like all over the place because I'm just trying to get my shit together. Real quick, guys, if you guys haven't, please feel free to like the video. Liking the video helps me in some algorithmic way, aka I think it helps people find the stream. And if other people are able to find the stream and they're able to connect and join chat and talk with all of us, I think that's great. If you guys are new, feel free to subscribe. I stream Mondays through Fridays, 12 p.m. Central, sometimes 1 p.m. Central lately. But also real quick, if you guys want to be a supporter of the channel, if you look sometimes in the chat, there are people with green names and they have a red Chicago star next to their name. And that's because they are a member of this channel. And you could do so for as little as 99 cents a month. You can get a red Chicago star next to your name and you get to use some custom emojis. And you'll also get your name on the intro and outro of every one of my live streams. And if you pick a different tier, you get other extra perks on top of that. I wish Saud Al was in here because I need to get his info for my private Discord since he upgraded his. Otherwise, you can just click the join button, or you can, if you can't find it, you can go to youtube.com/PhoneJerome/join. And I think I will leave it at that. And I think that's it. Guys, we will go over more tech news tomorrow. I had a lot of other stories today, but I actually didn't think I actually thought it was going to be slower, but I think I ranted about a lot of stuff. So tomorrow we'll do this again. You guys make sure to come on. We'll talk about stuff, tech stuff, other stuff. Feel free to talk in chat. Always glad to see you guys. Always nice to say hello, make a community, and just see what's going on. So until tomorrow, guys, I will see you soon. Have a good one. See you later. Bye now.